That's crazy.
You can research online. They're also on that map I gave you.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to reference your pictures by looking at that. Okay, that's what this one is. That's the thing. Yeah, he's like I said. He was. He might have been. I think the wealthiest guy in New England at the time.
Wow.
And he got Daniel Chester French to carve. You can kind of go up there, but he probably have a better. It is. Yeah. If you want to get a close up, she did another similar one that's out in the public area, but this private. But this is her favorite artwork she did. And she's since passed away. But that's that's on there. Fern Cunningham Terry is her last name. Fern Cunningham mainly, but really cool. All down the first floor. Now this is, you can read, and also her daughter took over, Alice Stone Blackwell, took over, she wrote the first women's magazine ever in America. And that's actually, if you want, let me move that out of the way. That's her urn. So her husband and her daughter.
That's Lucy's?
Yeah, that's
Really?
Lucy Stone's urn.
That's cool.
The first cremation received substantial press coverage. She was the first one cremated here. Since it involved the well-known suffragist and women's rights advocate Lucy Stone, 1818 to 1893. Yeah, so she was 27 years. She died 27 years before women had the right to vote. But Stone is remembered for founding and funding a weekly newspaper in 1870 called the Women's Journal, which became a major voice of American Women's Suffrage Association. She was also the first woman in Massachusetts to earn a college degree and the first woman to speak full-time on women's rights. Lucy Stone is credited with introducing women's rights movement to Susan B. Anthony. When she married Henry Brown Blackwell, Stone kept her maiden name, a radical act at the time. For decades, women who followed suit were called Lucy Stoners if they kept their maiden name. When her husband died in 1909 and their daughter, Alice Stone Blackwell, died in 1950, their ashes were commingled with Lucy's in the bronze urn. Their urn has a prominent place at the entrance of the lower columbarium. That's where we're at the lower columbarium. Chapel Hills, the chapel at the Forest Hills Crematorium is named in her honor. Lucy Stone, along with Abigail Adams and Phyllis Wheatley, were honored recently with a sculpture artist on Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. The Boston Women's Memorial, as it is called, is dedicated on 2003. Okay, so that's when that one. Each of the women featured in the sculpture had progressive ideas, were committed to social change, and left a legacy that had significant impact on history. And then that's her daughter, Alice Stone Blackwell, she took over the magazine. So 2 years ago was the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote, 1920 to 2020. So she was way ahead. She was the pioneer, and she's the one who told Susan B. Anthony and educated her on that. So I didn't realize she was that important. And I didn't realize until I just read. She was the first one cremated here.
That's so cool.
So she was the number one in all of New England. So that was radical at the time too. No one did that. I mean, Europeans and people in like India and did that, and Buddhist monks did that, but nobody in America did that. So she was the first one. She was radical from birth to death, basically. So